I'm in college and I'm working towards going to OCS after I graduate. I work a food service job. I was trying to teach a 17-year-old at work why she shouldn't half-ass cleaning a fryer. I said because of unmitigated daily discipline in all things. That includes cleaning the fryer. And I did. She still didn't quite get it. I didn't say to her that I make the fryer spotless because if I can't manage to clean the fryer, how can I expect myself to lead people in the military? Ipso facto, war. Because I didn't think that was appropriate to say to that 17-year-old girl. I try to lead by example, but I'm not sure that is enough. How can I best explain or show my younger coworkers why they should have unmitigated daily discipline in all things when the stakes are only a fryer and not lives?
Okay. Let's see. This is we're kind of in the same vein on some stuff tonight, which is good, right? It's good. First of all, because unmitigated daily discipline in all things should be first and foremost applied to you, not everyone else around you. To you. Let's start with yourself. Imposing discipline on other people is not leadership. It's just an authoritarian person barking orders. So, to answer your question, well, first of all, read, if you haven't read the book, The Dichotomy of Leadership. You might want to check that one out. There's a couple chapters you could focus on. One of them is called Resolute but Not Overbearing. One of them is called Disciplined but Not Rigid. One of them is called Hold People Accountable but Don't Hold Their Hands. And this is pretty much why we had to write The Dichotomy of Leadership, because you're out there, good on you, trying to take extreme ownership, and that's great, but you're not paying attention to the dichotomy of leadership. So let me break it down for you a little bit more clearly, and then you can go read the book as well, which will help you. You say that the stakes are only a clean fryer and not lives. And you're right. Lives are not at stake, and neither really is the functionality of the fryer itself, because it doesn't have to be completely spotless. And in fact, if you're trying to keep it completely spotless, it might actually waste time that she could be doing something that's more important, like prepping the potatoes or washing her hands to keep the food sanitary. So you need to think about that, how truly important. Like when you say, when I say, because I say this all the time, and I apologize for throwing you a little bit too far in one direction, unmitigated daily discipline in all things. There's no departure from that, right? That's what it is. There's no departure for that. But here's the deal. If you were in the military and you got spun up about little things that don't really matter, you are wasting your leadership capital. And when something actually important, it's what you were just talking about, Echo. When something actually important comes up, your troops aren't even going to listen to you because they don't know they don't know what's important and what's not, because you say that everything is important. Like, hey, why do I need to stay on watch? Why do I need to stay awake during watch? That's not any more important to you than whether I have a stain on my shirt, because you're freaking out about everything. So how do I know what's what? Now, here's the deal. You can go too far in the other direction, and you can let people do whatever they want, and they can completely lack discipline, and the little things do matter. The little things do matter, but you got to remember they only matter a little. And if you waste your time and you waste your leadership and you waste your energy on things that don't matter or things that matter very little, then you won't be able to lead your team when it really counts. What happens is it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. And if you let some things slide, then you let something else slide, then you let something else slide, eventually you've got no discipline. So you have to be careful of that. But at the same time, it's the other direction. What you end up in the other direction, if you impose unmitigated daily discipline in all things, you're going to end up like, here's a movie reference, Echo Charles, Animal House.
Sure.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I was young though.
Okay, so you don't remember Niedermeyer? The ROTC guy that's just yelling at everyone.
Yeah.
You're worthless and weak. He's like that. He's a guy that's just barking and going crazy. And that's a comical example. But I'll tell you what, you want a real example? a real good example that you can check out, once again, go and watch the first episode of the Band of Brothers series and check out Captain Sobel, the company commander of Easy Company. He is hardcore, and he imposes absolute unmitigated discipline in all things on his whole company. He holds the line. Oh, dirty weapon. No liberty for you. Pass revoked. Rust on your knife. Pass revoked. Uniform. Out of uniform. Creases in your boots or creases in your pants. Pass revoked. Oh, that guy's doing it. He's doing that unmitigated discipline in all things. And guess what happens to him? He gets fired. His troops hate him. He's worried about things that don't matter. Dick Winters, totally squared away. Worries about things that are important. And as an individual, and if you remember, I don't even know if they show this in Band of Brothers, but as an individual, imposing discipline on himself. Guess what he's doing during the Battle of the Bulge? Battle of the Bulge, middle of the winter, snowed in, don't have winter gear. They're freezing. They're dying. What's Winters doing in the morning? He's up and he's shaving. He's getting up and he's shaving. His battalion commander comes over and is like, bro, are you sure you need to shave? He's like, okay. Just holding the line. So that's why we wrote The Dichotomy of Leadership. This stuff is a balance, and you have to learn to balance. You don't want to end up going and ending up like Captain Sobel. And I hope everybody has that tendency to want to control things, and they want to use discipline, and they want to use unmitigated daily discipline in all things. You want to use that as your slogan to beat people down. Go watch the first episode of Band of Brothers and get your act together.
Yeah, that reminded me of when you were talking about your gym floor. You know, you don't. I mean, sure, you don't want a bag and your dirty clothes and socks and shoes all over the floor while you work out, but it is for a reason.
Yeah.
Same way, the whole reason you got to clean the fryers or the fryer for a reason, you know. So whatever the reason is, I'm not as familiar with fryers, but I'm sure
you didn't work at Wendy's like I did. So I can tell you that the external cleanliness of the fryer is not a big deal. Do you want, like you said, do you want it to be caked with grease where it's a fire hazard? No.
Yeah.
But guess what? It's a functional item that you're using all day.
Right.
There's going to be some spots on it. And if I'm freaking out about that, guess what? I got somebody that's not washing their hands. Or even worse, I got someone that's intentionally sabotaging the food so we get bad reviews. Now we're going out of business.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. So it's essentially like, hey man, identify the optimal use of the fryer. And let's target that as like the right way to clean it kind of thing, you know? And that's sort of it. Like you don't have to sweep your gym floor and mop it and make sure you can see your face in the...
I'm getting more chalk on that thing in 23 hours.
Yeah.
22 hours.
Right. It makes no difference to why I have a gym floor. I have the gym floor so I can drop weights and walk. That's it kind of thing. Not so, I can... I don't know, be super disciplined and wasting my time mopping it and, all this stuff because I'm unmitigated daily discipline in all things, You have a functionality you have to uphold.
Imagine how many hours of my life I would have thrown away if I was mopping, cleaning, sweeping, and vacuuming my gym floor every day when I got... It would take as long as my workout, or it would take probably 20 minutes, I guess.
Yeah.
So there's what, almost 2 hours a week, a little over 2 hours a week, gone. You think I got 2 hours a week? Think about what 2 hours. 2 hours is like a massive amount of time.
Yeah, that's a good
2 hours is a huge amount of time.
Unless
give that away.
You own a commercial gym. Then you want to mop that floor. Because it adds to the functionality of the gym, getting members,
the floor is gonna be clean.
Yeah.
But guess what? Here, go to the extreme. Hey, we just cleaned that floor. Don't walk on it. Hey, that part of the gym is shut down, because we just mopped it. It's like, no.
Yeah.
You just mopped it. We're going to use it.
Yeah. So it's kind of at the end of the day. It's kind of like, what? Unmitigated daily discipline in all things that are functional.
That are functional, for sure. Yeah. That are for yourself. Put that on yourself. Yeah. Put that on yourself. And here's you really want to take this to the next level?
Yes.
Be disciplined in how you impose discipline on people. don't just let it run wild. You have to have discipline in it. That's the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of does paint that picture how you're
Every time I get these questions, it's like, I'm so happy we wrote The Dichotomy of Leadership, because there's the answer.
Yeah.
That's the answer. The answer is this. All this is a dichotomy. Everything is a dichotomy. And people don't want it to be a dichotomy because dichotomies are complex. Yeah. Dichotomies are hard. Dichotomies it takes skill to learn to balance them. It takes awareness of the situation.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's so much easier to say, oh, you just impose your discipline and make everyone do what you want them to do. Like, you can't do that. You'll end up with a mutiny. My second platoon, when we had a mutiny, we worked for a guy that made us do everything his way. Mm-hmm. My way or the highway. Guess what? Didn't work. Mutiny. It was a highway, but not for us, for him.
For him. Dang.
Yeah. And not a bad guy. Yeah. Wasn't a bad guy. We didn't have bad intentions. Mm-hmm. But that's where this guy is heading. He's heading to OCS. And if he keeps with that attitude, he's going to end up in those situations. It's beautiful. I'm so glad he asked this question. Mm-hmm. Because I'm glad he asked this question because it's not his fault. He's listening to what I said, and I didn't communicate it well enough. So now he asked a great question, and now he can take a much, much better approach, a much more balanced approach in his leadership.
Yeah. Like flying a kite, kind of. You ever flew a kite?
I have flown a kite, but this has nothing to do with flying a kite.
No, it does.
No, I shouldn't have said that because I'm going to bring it back on me, aren't you?
Yeah, no, but the fundamental principle, right? You know, it depends on what kind of kite. I get it, but you know the kind with the two handles, the two strings. You know, you gotta see what I'm saying. You gotta kind of pull one and let one go a little bit, and then it depends on the wind. You know, it depends on how strong the wind is, and you gotta pull.
Cool.
Let slack out. Bro, I'm telling you, try fly a kite. Now I just flew one maybe 5, 6, 7 weeks ago. It's good. Windy day too, by the way.